that we're going to be talking about. Today, we're going to get into the subject of creating stability out of chaos. Okay, because that's something that you can use. It doesn't matter what form of what where you're at in life. This is a valuable skill. And to kind of give you a little bit of my background, um, when I was 19, I had a gun go off on me while I was loading a plane. That gave me PTSD. Okay. Bullet went through the pit, landed 18-month-old little girl's diaper bag. What's up, Beth? Nice to see you. So, that coupled with the fact that I have way too much adrenaline running through my body like a hyperactive adrenal gland. It was something that was passed down to me by my mother, and she also passed it down to my little sister as well. Okay, so you have PTSD, which means now all of a sudden you're having an episode that coupled with with too much adrenaline all of a sudden becomes a toxic situation. And that is something, in a lot of ways, I like to jokingly say that I am the modern day or the realistic version of the Incredible Hulk, because I like to keep myself calm and collective, and just kind of keep myself as even as I possibly can. But once I get to that point where it crosses a certain line, I can be I've been scary enough to even scare cops when I've had to have interactions with them because they were crossing a line, and basically they triggered a PTSD episode that immediately triggered my adrenaline, and boom. So what do I? It took me a lot of years to be able to learn how to get to a point where I could be put under a lot of stress. I can have a lot of chaos coming at me. And to be able to have a lot of things that are coming at me and to still keep my composure. Because 15 years ago, if I would have, what's up, Chris? Nice to see you, buddy. Okay, hold on. There you go. All right. And Beth, you also, hold on, guys. This is, okay. Perfect. So, but I had to learn how to keep myself, from getting into that. So now I'm able to take all of this chaos, all of this stuff, and I'm able to have it, or I'm able to still keep my composure in it. I still struggle with it. I don't. It's not that I'll never get on top of it, but you can't you can't be prepared for every situation. You can't. There are things that blindside you that just cause a knee jerk reaction, and you don't have a chance to get ahead of it in that sense. Okay. But one of the things that really helped me with being able to take the chaos and to be able to settle it down so that I could keep my composure. And because I've done these things that I'm about to talk about, is the reason why the first 11 years after my work accident, I was hospitalized 11 times. And the 15 years since, it has been, we are looking at zero hospitalizations. Okay. That's how much of an impact this made on my life. And it took me a lot of years to get to this point. Okay. And the first thing that you've got to realize, and everybody's a little bit different, but when you have a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, a lot of chaos, you have the instinctual reaction to step in and want to control the situation. But you can't necessarily control the situation. You can only control certain aspects of the situation. You have to be able to mold with the situation as it develops, because it is volatile, it is chaotic. But how do you keep your composure in all of that? And a lot of it comes down to realizing that this right around here, this around here, around me, this is my bubble. Okay. You are not allowed to come into this bubble without my permission. You are not allowed, I will keep my distance, you keep your distance. If there are certain people that I allow in my bubble, but I don't let people in my bubble. Because why? That is the only area that I can control: me, my actions, and what I have on me. Okay. So I can't control anybody else. But that's only one part of the equation. The other part of the equation is that you've got to understand human psychology, the basic, the simplistic form of human psychology. Humans are going to act in their own best interest. And if they can figure out a way to morally justify it, then it will be, then they will consider themselves off the hook and that they should not be paying any consequences for it. And it's easy to justify of, oh, I wanted that. And then just to be able to think that that's perfectly fine. There are people out there that are even that shallow that do things like that. Okay. So you've got to understand that people are going to act in their own best interest. So when somebody kind of goes off kilter, you're not going to be surprised. To everybody else, you're going to be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But to you, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, yeah, I fully expected that. This was their vice. This was their one thing. What is it that they talk about? For a woman, it's her children. If you put her children in a compromising situation, she will throw caution to the wind. Same thing with the man. You put his family in danger, he will throw caution to the wind. You put people in certain situations, or you have them where they feel like they're in a similar situation, because everybody has a threshold of what it is that they can actually handle. So, for example, some people are so attached to everything that they have that the thought of losing that is so detrimental that it's easy to compromise them. Versus, sir, if you just have that one sentimental item, unless they figure out what that sentimental item is, then therefore they cannot, they don't know what your price is, because everybody has a price, whether it be material, whether it be monetary, or whether it be status. There's always a price that somebody's willing to pay. What's up, Cherokee? There's always a price that people are willing to do, if in their own best interest, whether it gives them a better place in life, whether it gives them comfort, whether it gives them prestige, whatever it may be. People are always looking for the easy way out. And so if you're looking for the easy way out, and if you understand that people are going to act in their own best interest, look for the easy way out, and going to try and get something for nothing. If you understand that the average person is thinking like that, or be prepared that the average person is thinking that way, because not everybody thinks that way. I don't think that way. There's quite a few other people that don't think that way. But the thing is if you're already prepared for it, if you already kind of know, okay, yeah, people are people, and this is how they're gonna how they're gonna work, well then, for you as an individual, you can't be shocked, and therefore you need to have that as a contingency plan when you do the things that you do. So if you're working with somebody, but you know that there's a possibility that they're going to be kind of flaky and all this other stuff, um and I should have given one to, okay, good, all right, I should have, just there's just, you have to be able to not be shocked by anything, and the less shocked you are by what it is that's going on, um, the easier it is to remain composed while everybody else around you is freaking out. Because at the end of the day, the guy that keeps his composure in the situation, uh, or in the chaos, has the highest chance to be able to win. Okay. Whatever it may be, whether the winning may be, okay, you get out of there alive, winning may be you close the deal, winning may be, you look like the hero. Okay, there's all kinds of different ways in which you could win, essentially. But when you're dealing with chaos, you have to understand that everybody else around you is going to operate in their own best interest. They are going to immediately, even your own children will do that for you at a certain point. There will even be a certain point at which a mother will let her children go, just for one reason or another. I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm sure that there is something like that out there. Okay, so that's one part of being able to keep your composure in the chaotic situation. Okay, the other part of keeping your composure, so wait, let me reiterate real quick before I transition. So what I originally talked about is you have your bubble, and to be able to, you can only control you, yourself, your thoughts, your actions. You can't control anybody else. And to just be wary of the natural personality traits that can create more chaos in an already chaotic situation, just because deer in headlights, get spooked, whatever. Okay, but the other thing is, you need to be able to have the gift of foresight. And part of understanding the gift of foresight, and I can say thank you to Billy Meyer for this, because I learned something very, very important from reading his stuff. And what he was talking about is the law of causation, or it's either the law of causal or the law of causation, cause and effect. Okay, so if I do something to you, therefore it's going to keep the chain going until somebody breaks that chain. Okay, and whatever I do to you, you're going to do to me, because again, although we are all together and we all share this space, we're kind of all on our own island, and we have to figure out ways where we can mutually benefit with each other to be able to coexist. Okay, so you have to be able to understand the chain reaction of something. For example, uh, looking at what's going on with the global theater in Iran. Okay, well, let's even go back before Iran. Let's look at why Russia even even did, for every action there is a reaction. For every action, no. For every what you do to others, others will do to you. It's not for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's the um, that is one of Newton's laws of motion. No, what I'm talking about is, if I steal from somebody, I will get stolen from. If I am dishonest with people, people will be dishonest with me. Now, not everybody's gonna follow by that rule. Then, in places where you run across people that are the law of causation, or the law of cause and effect. Um, but it's when you go when you go through something like this, you need to be able. It's just like a combustion engine. Think of it like, if you for those of you that have um, for those of you that have mechanical experience, just because I know that most of my demographic is male. So for those of you that have mechanical experience, think about a combustion engine, chain reaction. Okay. And if you get good at seeing how that chain reaction ends, and you start kind of like putting the pieces together. So, for example, um, we know that that Ukraine is or that Russia did not want NATO to move east. So what did NATO do? NATO instigated the situation by moving east, and then trying to then saying, "Hey, we're going to do Ukraine, which is right on our border." It'd be like Russia saying, "Come join our alliance with Mexico or with Canada." It would rub us the same way. So he was bait and switch. It was the causation chain, and he was forced to make choices because of the dishonesty of our politicians in making deals that they knew that were never going to stick, and that they were going to move off to the side. Okay, so how do you use this to be able to bring chaos, or excuse me, bring stability in a chaotic situation? Well, a great example, and I'm going to tell a story about my business. For those of you that know, that don't know, I used to own a janitorial business. I've been chronically homeless for about 25 years, but I owned a janitorial business for about 6 years, and that gave me about the longest period of stability of my life, of my adult life, I should say. And I learned a lot of lessons, and it taught me a lot about being a man, about being a human being, and about fairness and things like that. But when I first started when I first started my cleaning business and stuff like that, it was going along. But there was a point where see, I started my business at the beginning of the digital economy. See, the digital economy was just coming out. If you were a business back then, you could get away with just having a Google My Business and not having a website. But it got to a certain point that where you had to have a Google My Business, you had to have a website, and you had to be able to generate your leads from online, because nobody was using the yellow pages or the white page or the yellow pages at that point in time. Okay, people stopped using it. People started using Google search and stuff like that. So you as a business, so when I started out my business, I started off in the digital economy, not realizing that I was in the digital economy. But I procured, and if you want to understand what makes what makes a business in the digital economy, if they generate clients, leads, or revenue from strictly from online sources, or a majority of their funds and leads come from online sources, then they are a digital business. Now you have brick and mortar businesses that are part of the digital economy, but those are even going away because now we have logistics with shipping and FedEx and UPS and all this other stuff. Okay. But the thing is everything has morphed. And if you don't pay attention and see, okay, what's going on here? How is this going to play out? What is the possible cause and effect? You get slow introduction. So my first introduction to really understanding AI was not was not just a few weeks ago, but it was in 2020 when I'm getting contacted by salesmen to sell me an auto scrubber that will uh, uh, that will do everything. It's unmanned. It runs on a piece of software. What they do is they map out the whole place. For $60,000, I could buy it, and for $5,000 a year for software rights, I could do that, and I could immediately start looking at automating my workforce and getting people away. And for a janitorial business, especially when you're in the middle of a labor crunch, things kind of become a little hairy. And you start looking for options like that. I just didn't have enough space to justify the cost, but maybe in 5 years it'll be a lot less expensive, and being a lot less expensive means that a lot of other business will be able to get into it. So I already started seeing not only that, but I saw that, okay, my clients, they were allowed to go back to work. They were allowed to open up after the shutdowns. But a lot of them, unless they were like the dentist's office or a manufacturing plant, or a warehouse, if their employees were not even required to be in the office, they just kept those COVID standards way past when. And so a lot of the workforce became working from home. And I started seeing that because I was in janitorial. I was in the commercial side at that point. Being in the commercial side, I was able to see, okay, so the office buildings are going to be a thing of the past. That's why I can talk. Oh, Chris, you're heading out. Tuck, I'm getting old, brother. It's my bedtime. All right, Chris, you have a good one. Have a good night. But just when it comes to when it was coming to just seeing how things were morphing, I was already starting to see that the digital economy was starting to grow. And when I started hearing that more and more people were starting to make money on YouTube, people were being successful, and I started understanding how marketing and sales was going to be moving in the future. Because right before I ended up closing down my business, about a year before, actually about a year and a half before I closed down my business, one of the things that I did is I contacted my SEO company. I was using a company called 99 Calls. And I said, hey, look, man, I see the way this is going. I need to, people are going more online. People are going more into social media to market. This is kind of like how everything's morphing. Do you guys do that? Oh, no, 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 no. Well, see, they would not do any social media. And if I wanted to hire a social media firm, it would have cost me about 15 grand a month to be able to get them to do everything that I needed them to do, which would have put me at a loss. And I was trying to get something from my search engine company because they were going to have to morph as more and more people happen or did this. So fast forward 5 years. How many more people are working from home, and how are the roads? Are they packed? Or how are the office buildings? Because not a lot of people are going back to work. There's actually the commercial mortgage bubble that they're talking about, which is pretty much popping the everything bubble. Okay. So you get to see the cause and effect. And as I saw the race pick up with AI, I saw cause and effect. And I had to figure out, okay, what is the world going to look like in 5 years? And how do I stay relevant? Well, that is in just normal life. Yeah, well, no, actually, Beth, for a business, I would have to be making about $100,000 a month to be able to justify that. I'd probably have to have at least 300 to 500 employees. Basically, social media marketing was ticketed, was priced so high that only the big businesses could get to it. The smaller businesses couldn't do a $300 or $400 a month plan. They would do something that would actually get them some sort of reach and some return on their investment, so that you can help them transfer more of their. See, this is like, if you're going to transition from the old ways to the new ways, you've got to make it affordable for the small business, because if you can make it affordable for the small business and you can really, handle that niche, a lot of them will be very skeptical because they know, oh, it costs 15,000. Why are you doing it for me for 3 or 400? But you're doing three highly optimized posts per month, or excuse me, per week. Okay, on, like, let's say Facebook and LinkedIn, or whatever demographic finds for theirs, and you can even use AI to do that, and you can make, just talking to small businesses, just sitting there and doing that process for them. Because if they're a brick and mortar and they're too busy working on everything else, then it's a way to be able to get you. I I That's why my prices in my cleaning business were so low, because I wanted to make it affordable, not for the upper middle class person, the person that was snooty and stuff like that. I wanted to make it affordable for the teacher, for the plumber, for the guy that works at McDonald's. Okay, and so yes, I was running it in text, Beth. But that's kind of what I was looking to do, and that's just kind of the way that I wanted to. I kind of wanted to move. So you gotta, if you're going to bring stability in chaos, you are going to realize that you can only control you and what you have and what you think and what you do. And you've got to realize the volatility of other people, and then you've got to be able to see the possible chain reactions. Okay, and I think I got that skill not only just from Billy Meyer and reading about it, but I got to apply it a lot when I was writing my own legal documents. Because when I was writing my own legal documents, I had to write my contracts, because I wrote all my own contracts, even for my janitorial business. I wrote my own contracts. They were all custom made, and they all did that. And if anybody ever wants me to do that for them, you got to reach out to me privately. But um, but if you would like me to help you get yourself off the ground and getting a business started, I can share with you what I've learned. Either subscribe or come on over to Patreon and join one of my many memberships. But anyways, uh with this being said, you've got to be able to see the cause, the effect, the chain reaction. Just uh do things that will help you hone in or apply or practice this skill. This is something that you can't just sit there and watch somebody do a video on. Hey, what's up, Superloop? This isn't something that you can sit and just watch a video on, and now I know how to be able to stay. No, no, no. What it takes actual practice. It takes actually being able to be in situations that are chaotic, and in those chaotic situations, being able to self-reflect after the situation, and to analyze how you acted, how you reacted, and who had the calmer head. Because he who loses generally was the hothead. Okay, so it gives you an opportunity to apply these situations and to sit back and self-reflect, but understand that these are the keys. Okay, so when you get caught up in the chaos, are you trying to control more than just your environment? Okay, are you trying to control more than just you? If you are, well, then you know what, you will have less stress and less chaos if you step back and you say, okay, no more. I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about me, my role, my part, what I got to do. And if nobody looks like they're going to be following through on it, I'm going to bail before I put too much in. It's not really a sense of whether or not you have loyalty, because um, unless there's somebody that you have a well developed relationship with. I have a few people in my life like that, to where I have a very well developed relationship. Those are the people that you're going to stand in and you're going to be loyal to, and you're going to assist them in their own chaos. Okay, but for the most part, the average person that you deal with isn't worth it. So how to stop being a people pleaser? Well, first, learn the word no, honestly, and then start realizing, hey, you know what? If you want, you got to set your own boundaries. You got to learn what your boundaries are. Well, thank you, Superloop. Much appreciated. So, you got to learn what your own boundaries are. That's the big thing. So let's go through and start reading the comments, because we're at that point in time. So, too much cost per, yeah, I know, right? Um, Okay, so yeah, I saw Chris going. Okay, wow. Gotta watch out for sociopaths. Psychopaths give off a vibe. What sociopaths do in due time, that due time will result in loads of damages. Yeah, you kind of gotta watch out for people on that sense, Cherokee. Yeah. So Newton for every action. Yeah. Okay. Wow, you guys really lit up chat. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Okay. So 2020 automatic scrubber. Yes. So yeah, in 2020, yeah. Okay. So for those of you that don't know what an auto scrubber is, you probably see them in the supermarkets like Walmart and stuff. Some guy's riding this big old one. It's got brushes on the front. It's got a squeegee on the back. It sprays water, and scrubs it, and squeegees it up. So it basically sweeps, mops, and dries the floor as it goes along. That's what an auto scrubber does. It actually brings cleaner floors. I've tried to do it. I've tried to do it by hand, and an auto scrubber will still do better than a human, just because of the way it's built. I don't know if Cherokee's still here, so listen to some earlier episodes of the channel. Well, that's good. Yes, but to do. Oops. Um, so Superloop, have you been watching the whole time, or are you did you just come in? Okay, because if you guys have any questions about this, this is your time to be able to do that. For those of you that are new here, because this used to be my gaming channel, okay, and I have transitioned it into. Oh, okay. Well, welcome. Okay, so what we were talking about today, and you might want to go back to the beginning, towards the end, but if you go back to the beginning, essentially what I did is I talked about controlling your learning what part of your environment to control, learning the or understanding the volatility of other people, and then learning the chain reaction, or the law of cause and effect, so that when you see events happening, you can kind of see how they unfold, so that you're not surprised or caught off guard when that happens. Okay, so I know some of you may be looking back and saying other things, but um, for those of you that have been here for a while, those that come in late, I'll kind of bring them up to speed. But anyways, before this, I had this as a gaming channel. My main channel is the Epoch of Friar Tuck. I am transitioning that from talking about being homeless, because I would hike the trails and rails and rubber tramped it for about 2 years. Um, between the link between my skills wheelhouse and pick your brain for best link AI to it. Okay, the link between my skills wheelhouse and pick your brain on how to best link AI to it. Yes. Um yeah, that's the best way to put it. Hey Beth, did you try so because I know you're a Patreon member, did you try the prompt that I gave you? Because I wanted to see what people thought of it, because it's just to give you an introduction to AI and to kind of help you navigate yourself to a point where you can start, figure out what it is that you can peddle online that will be valuable to society, that skills you never even thought about. um, I've been in charge in my jobs. Okay, so okay, yeah, you will. I was actually talking with Ayana. For those you don't know, she's through a program that I work with. It's called Homeless Entrepreneur, and she's kind of helping me with understanding social media and stuff like that. Just because I don't, she's younger than me. She understands social media, but she's actually having a hard time dealing with artificial intelligence right now. And she also teaches classes at the university, and she's telling me what she's having to deal with and how much education is going to have to change over the next decade to be able to prepare the next generation of children to be able to use this as a tool. Because right now, I guess she's teaching networking, business networking, in her thing. And what her students are doing is they're just taking her examples, uploading it to Chat GPT, or Grok, or one of the other things, and then having it spit out a report. Don't Not even learning, just letting it do it, copy and pasting it, putting it in their putting it in their which in the inbox, to turn in as an assignment, and they're wondering why they're getting zeros, and like, but she's actually having to bring in real world people to be able to do this. So what work the biggest thing is we are going to have to prepare. I think we've done a bad job in the last generation of children, the millennials, because we told them they could do anything, they could be anything, and we told them how smart they were. When in reality, what that did is that set them up to a point where they came out into the workforce and said, "Well, I'm smarter than you. Why aren't I getting paid more than you?" Not realizing that life required experience. And the next generation is going to have to learn this, because because I had to explain to her the problem that I experienced when I was in college, and this was back in 2005. When I was in college in 2005, they were recruiting anybody and everybody they could, as long as they could get them the Pell Grant and the Stafford loan. That was from the government, and then the rest they would put through like Wells Fargo or whatever, right? So they guaranteed you all these different loans and stuff like that, and this was the way for the colleges to be able to fleece, or to, yeah, basically to fleece the ignorant. Um, and yeah, I was one of those, and that's really sad that that happened, because I was positioned to be put in a field that didn't work with me. I spent 5 years in the IT industry, and my degree, the education I got was worthless. Okay. um because the thing is they're just too busy trying to get the number of enrollments up, so that they can get more funding, so that they can get more funding for other things, so that they can, grow their name, their notoriety, da 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 da, so that they can charge more, completely forgetting that they had a name to upkeep. And so by the time, like, about a year and a half later, when I meet my what would become my ex-wife, we met in school. She was going to her teacher saying, "Look, about half of us are more than we're like we're bored because we already know this stuff, and yet, why aren't you teaching us all what we need to be doing?" And so, the teacher told her that, she's got to teach to the lowest common denominator. So the admissions is bringing in, and it got to a point where, like, I don't even tell people what school I went to, because by the time I was ready to finish my schooling, they they basically just it turned into the high school ghetto. It was a bunch of immature children that were just there because they were told they were going to get free money, and they were going to get a good paying job. Okay. And it all it does is dilute things. And so we're going to be having a problem uh with just being able to teach children. And from what I'm being told by a few people that I've talked to, is that, at least for the way that I'm directioning this, my both of my channels, is that it is a trailblazer type channel, because I'm taking people that are in an age demographic that are apprehensive, and trying to get them curious about exploring and being curious about AI, and getting to understand it so they can know why they don't like it. But they'll be like my grandfather. I mean, he was 80 years old, and he started doing email. He because he realized it was much easier than waiting for something to show up in his mailbox, and he didn't have to get dressed and go outside. He just sit down at his computer and not have to worry about leaving the house. That was my grandpa. He earned it though. But okay. Let's see. Lots of loss, lots of deaths, and letting go, being around grieving people. Yeah, pretty skilled at sorting through chaos. Yeah, I've been in. Um, okay. Um, yeah, okay. Sounds like she understands how big a change is ahead. Well, here's for the kids, just at the time family stability is issue. But here's the thing, Beth. She is behind. I know more about AI than she does. I'm teaching her and trying to get her excited about it. And so I'm telling her, like, I'm trying to explain to her, it's like, yeah, what you need to do is to, instead of giving them articles to read, give them prompts. Give them a prompt that says go and that says, teach me da 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 da. Okay, and you might even have you might even have some brackets where they can enter in their own information so that they can get something back. Okay, at that point in time, what they'll have to do is they'll have to read through it. Um, they'll have to read through it, and this is how they're going to learn, because then they might go, you might ask another question like, why is that? And so therefore you give them the prompt, you give them a question that says, why is that? So now they have to enter in the prompt, they're forced to read it to find why is that, because unless they're super lazy. Okay, and then therefore not only does it not necessarily force them to read, but it shows them that it's a tool to be used to learn. And so as they start learning these things and then they have to answer that question, they'll have a deeper understanding of of the subject than if they would have had it crammed down their throat in the traditional way. Um, use open-ended questioning. Well, the prompt, if you look at the prompt that I put over on Patreon, Beth, if you look at the prompt that I put over there, and for those of you that don't know, I have another channel called the Epoch of Friar Tuck. But for the Patreon, I put the prompt in there to kind of start the curiosity, so that it's a prompt to tell you what it is that you can do in the digital economy to make money. So if you're curious, you're like, oh, I want to know what I could do, especially if you want to scoff at it, go, yeah, I got no skills. Watch, it'll show you something, especially if you put in your goals, your personality traits, your skills, and other things like that really kind of govern like what type of work you want to do, what type of things you want to do. It will still spit out some sort of solution. So the thing is it's to kind of help grease those wheels, because you might sit there and go through like, so I did the same prompt for myself way back when I first started. And I asked it, it's like, okay, well, this is kind of like, I'm really busy doing this, I don't this is my skill set, this is what I've done, this is kind of what I'm trying to accomplish. And it spit out, and I gave me like 4 or 5 different things. I'm like, well, I like that one, so hey, can you tell me more about this one? And so therefore it starts telling me more about that one, because I'm like, ooh, I can make money doing this, and I've had a couple of suggestions. So therefore it was much easier. So I think that AI is going to be important. Good instinct, Professor Tuck. Yep. So giving prompt is yeah, opening a question. Yes. Okay. It's been difficult to type fast enough to explain my point. Well, you have the ability to send me a direct message through Patreon. So you can type me a paragraph, or you have my email as well, which is friartuck@hobotuck.com. So if you want to do something more long-winded and have a deeper conversation that may end up out here, as we go back and forth and come to a different understanding. So um didn't see the prompt. Oh, I put it up this afternoon. It's been put up within the last few hours, so it's still new. But yeah, I mean, that's that. So let's see here. um but yeah. um okay, oh yeah, hopefully this is cooled down enough. mm. If my bedroom wasn't such a mess. Okay, I don't get very many days off. Um, I don't get very many days off at all, and uh, uh, I'm surprised more people aren't over here, especially the regulars. Was Joanna in here? I don't remember if I saw her or not. I talked to her on the phone, told her I was going to be doing this. I saw something from her on Patreon though, but I just I don't get very many days off, and now with the help of AI, I'm getting a little bit of breathing room, so I'm taking it. No, I don't take time off. Do Okay, so Monday. Okay, today's Monday. Now I'm not doing anything over on the other channel. Everybody thinks I take Sunday, Monday off. Actually, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off, and that's not true. That's not true. I'm doing stuff on Saturday. I'm recording videos on Saturday and Sunday to post for the next week, and then on Monday I might catch up on the extra videos, or I might I might do some self learning or work on something on the back end, whatever is that I have time for that's important that I need to focus on at that time as I'm moving along, and then Tuesday through Saturday, I am going through and I'm working all back end stuff. So I'm doing shorts. I'm doing stuff on LinkedIn. I'm doing stuff on Twitter. I now need to start doing stuff on Instagram as I go along, and each one has its own thing in which I'm doing. So therefore, I spend the meat and potatoes of the week looking at all that stuff, because at least on LinkedIn, um, Tuesday through Friday is kind of like when people start coming on social media. That, at least that's the last stats I looked at. But it is what it is. So yeah, no, I really don't take a day off. Sometimes I do a half day, but I don't get a full day off, Beth. No. Um, yeah. So well, it's who I am. I'm a workaholic. I love working. I get fulfillment in working. And when I have, so you, Joanna, Cherokee, Chris, and some others that are between the channels and stuff like that. Um, you guys are what makes this worth it, because I feel like I'm making an impact. I'm getting some people to change their thought process enough to be able to sit back and react and take a different point of view, or at least reinterpret their point of view, and see where they can make an adjustment based upon new information. So this is what drives me. What I really like doing is I like doing things that I know are going to be impactful. I don't if I could live without getting paid, I would do it without getting paid, because it's just something that I love doing. It's part of how I'm wired in society. So as long as I'm doing things that are productive, that are making an impact in society, man, I love doing it, and I want to do it all day every day long, or all day every day. So but thank you though, Beth. Much appreciated. Yeah, but I'm a workaholic, so like, even if that was the problem having Farm Girl here. It's that she was in the middle of my workspace. It's like somebody who sits in the middle of your bed while you're trying to sleep. Um, that's what kind of really caused me to struggle the way that I did. Not having her here, it's like, cool. Now I can do whenever, whatever. So at like 7 o'clock at night, I want to do it in the blue light. 8 o'clock at night, I want to do it in the blue light. Whatever I want to do, um, I can do that, or I can do it during the day. So it gives me I have a lot more flexibility, which allows me to work around the clock, because I take breaks between. That is one thing that I do to keep myself from kind of getting burnt out. Uh, is for most people, they want to work like an 8 or 10 hour day. It's like, yeah, an 8 or 10 hour day is nice, but your day's 16 hours. You need to be able to have like an hour or two where you can sit back and just take a deep breath and decompress from the rest of the world. You need to be able to have time to sit back and just have a meal, and instead of like, oh, I got to have a quick meal. Oh yes, my breaks. Yeah, when I go out, when I need a break from the inside, I go outside and I start moving rocks. You're right. That's just what I do. But it is what it is. But anyways, I invite any of you who haven't subscribed, and you're still around. I want to say, I want to ask you to subscribe. What we will be talking about, what this is supposed to be a podcast. I'm behind on this because I've been focusing on other stuff. But essentially, this is a once a week podcast. Every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll go live. I will use my experiences from being homeless and being a business owner to kind of help you get a grip on the things and the chaos that you've got going on in your life, whether it be overcoming fears, overcoming other objectives, or dealing with other personality traits that are being toxic within your work environment. Um, that's what this podcast is designed for. So if you want to follow along and maybe get some good pointers and maybe get a different point of view, maybe open up your mind, ask yourself some questions, maybe even do some reflection, I would like to invite you along for the journey. So if you'd like to check out my website, you can go to aihomesteader.com. Until next week, guys, thanks for being here. And I will see you next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel.